Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. We are live at those two fine locations every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are tuned in on YouTube, do not forget to click that like button, click that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. And if you would like to order some customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. Without further ado, let me bring on the biggest Nerf herder that I know. Well, actually, second biggest. I am the biggest Nerf herder in terms of like size and girth. But my brother and my esteemed co-host AJ, what's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, what's going on tonight? How you doing?
Not too much. So before we get into tonight's topic, which is going to be pretty interesting because it's me and you going head to head, which doesn't usually happen. I'm not sure if we've ever had a episode where we're basically on opposite sides of something like this. You had made a comment on our last episode that Kenobi was overrated, and I was absolutely shocked. So we decided to come at this show from the perspective of I think it's underrated, you think it's overrated. So that is going to be our topic tonight. We're going to be talking about, obviously, Kenobi on Disney+. But before we get to that, we do have kind of an announcement to make that we are allowed to tease now, since we only have 2 more episodes before this becomes an actual reality. So, Kale McLeish, good to see you, man. Perfect time to tune in. He says, the brothers Drake, how we doing? Awesome, Kale. Everything's good. Hopefully, if you're still on vacation in Bali, hopefully it's going good. I want to know how many times you sat in with bands, because I know that happened to you the very first night. So, hope everything's going good over there, man. So, yeah, AJ, years and years and years ago, we had seen a whole bunch of Star Wars podcasts lining up with networks. And, podcasts would band together and, the pitiful little band. But they would band together and, they'd create networks and stuff, the Red 5 network and all these different things. And, I appeared on a few of those as kind of a guest host here and there and things like that. But, we were never invited to do one. And, we never were like, okay, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Cool. Because, those of you who have listened to or watched the show for a long time know that AJ and I do this. This is just for fun for us. It's us. It's an excuse for us to hang out at least once every 2 weeks and nerd out, mostly about Star Wars. So, the network thing never really crossed our mind. Well, I'd say about a month and a half, 2 months ago, a very, very good friend of ours, Spencer Jowitz, who has been on the show before, he actually is a moderator for the Virtual Cantina Network on Facebook, and they have a ton of different shows. They also have over 60,000 followers. I think they're like 61,000 now or something, but tons of followers on there, and it's just a great place to hang out. All the celebration information you could ever want when it comes time for celebration. Again, tons of different great shows and whatnot. Intelligent shows, well-produced shows, and for some unknown reason, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, Spencer came to us and said, hey, we'd like to add the Nerf Herder Council to the Virtual Cantina Network. And I was like, are you sure? And even you, when I mentioned it to you, because I was talking to Spencer about it, you were like, what, seriously? Us on their network?
Right.
So we went through some stuff, and we're working on the graphics now. But yeah, we sent them a few episodes, and I had a long kind of Zoom call with their producers and Spencer and stuff, and basically went through what we do and kind of basically said like, yeah, we'd love to do it. The only caveat to this for us is that we don't want to change our format. We don't want to kind of if we need to fit into a box for you guys, I would prefer not to, because we enjoy what we do. Am I wrong, AJ? I don't think I misspoke for us.
No, not at all. That was exactly this conversation that we had when you told me about this was, yeah, we got no problem doing a network, but we do our show. You take it or leave it.
Yeah. And it was it was really flattering because they had again watched 3 episodes that I'd sent them, and which I thought kind of represented what we do. There's, some of the more crass stuff, some of the goofy stuff, and the serious stuff, and kind of I tried to give them a good cross section, and they said they really enjoyed it, and they said that it's different from anything that they have on their network, and so they thought it would fit in great, and they don't want us to change anything. They just want us to do our show, and they're being gracious enough to put us on their network, which is going to get us in front of a whole lot more eyes, and it's a pretty cool thing, and for me, AJ, I think it's fun because we joke about it constantly, but it's not really a joke. We're terrible at promoting ourselves, and we also really don't care that we're terrible at promoting ourselves. But it's nice. It's nice to get a little bit of recognition and to have this opportunity to join an established network. We're going on. It's our 8th year doing this. So, first of all, for one show to be around that long is pretty unheard of. How many podcasts have we seen come and go throughout our time doing this? And here we are still going, and now we're being asked to join a network that on Facebook has over 60,000 followers. I think it's really cool, and I'm very flattered. I don't know, where do you stand on that? I'm sure you agree, but
I think it's a great pairing personally. Like you said, we are unlike anything that they have on the network right now. They have a lot of very well-produced, thoughtful, thought-provoking shows, and then they're going to have ours. So that's a nice contrast because we're none of those
I'm
things.
glad I didn't take that drink.
And 60,000 followers on Facebook. I think we can get that at least to 58,000 or so. So we'll do it. We'll do what we can. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, I love it.
No, we love doing what we do, and being able to reach more eyeballs with it is just so much the better because, going live was one of our favorite things, right? Like as soon as we had a chat section to bounce off of and get more people involved in the show, the more fun it became for us. So if we've got more eyeballs on the show, that means more people talking. Everybody gets to have a better time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel kind of bad because so we're still going to be in our same time slot, and they have a show that's every other Wednesday as well, and they're going to be showing that show. That show's going to be doing their thing on the weeks that we're off. And I want to say it's like an LGBTQ type of a podcast or something, with 2 female hosts and everything. So obviously their content's going to be a lot less dumb and crass than ours will be. And so I really feel bad for anybody who tunes into their show one week is like, oh, I love this, I'll tune in next week, and then they get our dumbasses. They're gonna be like, what the hell is this crap?
Right?
So we're gonna disappoint some people right off the rip, I think so. But it'll be fun, and it is definitely a huge honor, and we can't thank Spencer and the moderators, Jeff and all them enough for inviting us. It's definitely a blessing, and I really appreciate them putting their trust in us and appreciating what we do enough to think that it'll actually add to what they provide, because it really is, all joking aside, it's a fantastic network with a ton of fantastic shows. There's something on pretty much every day of the week. They do a lot of live watch-alongs and everything, and it's just and we've hung out with all the people that do these shows and the network and whatnot. And for those of you guys who've listened to the show for a long time, that we met Spencer at Celebration 2019 and just dragged him out on some crazy adventure. So he was exposed to AJ and I. How the hell he likes us after that, I have no idea. But so yeah, we've been friends with him for quite a while now, and it's just we really appreciate it. So K.O. McLeish says, hey, congrats, that's awesome. Thank you, brother. He says, are they still going to let you do Marvel and everything else, or do they only host the Star Wars episodes, or how is this going to work? That was my question, K.O., and they're basically all it's going to be, just imagine we're on an extra platform. I was very adamant about the fact that we like what we do, we want to keep doing what we're doing. And I asked, are they okay if we do a Marvel show, if we do a Star Trek show, or a WTF Friday or something? And they said, yeah, like do it, whatever you do, just do that. And so absolutely nothing is changing, Kale. We're just getting in front of more eyes, and that's the reason that we're doing it. Had they asked us to make changes, we would have turned it down, because we love doing it, but we love doing it this way. Like, we're comfortable doing it this way. We think it's fun for us, and to have to make changes, even though we don't have a ton of viewership, we do have, I think, over like 50,000 downloads, and we do have a small little audience that we built up, and, people enjoy it, and we enjoy doing it. So we wanted to keep it as is, and they wanted us to keep it as is, to their credit. They said, yeah, just do exactly what you're doing, and we'll slap it on our network, basically. So we're going to have some added graphics, showing their logo and stuff like that AJ is working on. But other than that, it's par for the course. So
I'm going off script a little bit, though. For anybody tuning in to John's personal Facebook page for the show, we currently can only trimulcast. Currently, it's going to 2 Facebook pages and YouTube. It'll still be going to 2 Facebook pages and YouTube. And sorry, John, but I think yours has to go, so we can get on the Virtual Cantina Network page instead.
I think it does.
So we're going to be on our Nerf Herder Council Facebook page. We're going to be on the Virtual Cantina Network Facebook page, and then on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So that's the only change. Is if you're tuning in to John's personal Facebook, make sure you hit up one of those professional pages instead.
Yes. It's, casualty of war, I suppose. But we're going to figure that out. I think next year I'm just going to pony up for the upper level of StreamYard so I can stream to like 10 different places and just slap it everywhere. Because I have to admit,
everywhere.
Yeah. Because I'm sure everybody wants to see this drivel. So, but yeah, so that's our announcement. Our first official episode on the Virtual Cantina Network will be on August 30th. So we've got tonight, then we've got in 2 weeks, we are going to basically kind of give our predictions on what we think will be in Ahsoka. We're going to talk a little bit of Ahsoka. And then our first official episode on the Virtual Cantina Network on Wednesday, August 30th, is going to be our reaction to the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka. So it's definitely a Disney Plus centric month here on the Nerf Herder Council. But, obviously thanks again to Spencer and all those guys at the Virtual Cantina Network for inviting us on. So that's going to be good. Since my video is frozen, I forgot to announce that don't forget, guys, that Shitty Wi-Fi Watch 2023 is in full effect. So if my video fucks up, don't worry, my audio will be fine. And my video will catch up eventually. So I always got to remember to mention that. Still working on fixing that, because apparently, as I said, I think on the last episode, it seems to be just a matter of the building materials in my goddamn house blocking signal. So we'll figure it out. Might be a 300 foot Ethernet cable in my future. So we'll see.
Or a hole in your floor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, that's true. I should ask Lockwood to bring a big drill next week. That's an insider. Anyway. All right, so let's get to the topic here tonight. We've rambled long enough, which we are wont to do. There goes the frozen video. So on the last episode, you had made a comment, just in passing. I don't know what the hell we were talking about or how the hell it came up, but you said that Kenobi was overrated. And I said,
I never miss a trick to talk shit.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me? The hell are you talking about? I said, if anything, I think it's underrated. And as soon as you said that, I just thought, okay, well, there's the next episode. So we are going to be debating the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus here tonight. And AJ is on the side of it being overrated. I'm on the side of it being underrated. And now you did rewatch it, correct? You were in the middle of the last episode or something as we were kind of going live. So I binge watched it on Saturday. I got through all of it. This is a weird night, but we went, full disclosure, AJ and I went to Pantera in Burgestown, Pennsylvania on Friday, and I beat the shit out of myself. I couldn't hold my head up. My neck muscles hurt so bad from headbanging the next day. I couldn't hold my head up. I pulled muscles in both my forearms from air guitaring. I even pulled a muscle in like along my jawline. I didn't know there were even muscles in your cheek down here. So I pulled that, and I was just, and I was supposed to go see a couple shows my buddies were playing, and I stayed in. And that night, I binge watched Kenobi. And I have to tell you, I was very certain of the fact that this show is definitely underrated. I didn't think it was getting enough love. But after binge watching it, like making it basically one big, like, what, 4 or 5 hour movie or something like that, 5-hour movie. It is 100% definitely underrated. And that is the way to watch this show. It is to get it because I did it that way, and then I did it again, and I watched it episode by episode in the last couple days, and it is a different feel if you go like episode, okay, I'll wait for a bit, episode for a bit. It's different than if you binge it. And either way, I love it, but binging it, that is the way to go. It just absolutely kicks ass, man. And I don't understand how you can say that it's overrated. I mean, let's start there. Why do you think that this is overrated?
Okay, this is going to be an entertaining episode because, to quote Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi, everything you just said was wrong.
Okay.
Like even your part about, oh, if you binge it, it's so much better. Like I binged it today, and it not only didn't help, I think it actually exposed more problems. Because like at least like when you got like a week between episodes, your mind's a little fuzzy when you go to the next one. You're like, okay, I got the broad strokes. But when it's like fresh in your mind and then you go to the next episode, some stuff stands out like, well, that doesn't make sense. So, I mean, do you want to go episode by episode, or do you want to like talk in broad strokes first?
Well, just give your general thoughts. I mean,
all right. The first question I had when this show was announced was, why? Like,
oh, God damn it.
Like, why did we need this? Like, who was clamoring for this? I wanted to know how they were going to take it's like the Rogue One problem, but it's everything we feared about Rogue One to me, where it's like we know how it ends. We know everything we need to know after this story is told. So how are they going to make it matter? And really, it's just that's the thing. It's a series that just maintains the status quo. So nothing can really change from the beginning of episode 1 to the end of episode 6. It's all the same because they couldn't interfere with anything that happened prior to it at the end of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And they couldn't interfere with anything that I was about to say episode 4, A New Hope, but Rogue One's in there now. So this entire show takes place in a time frame where the characters can't be any different than where they left off in the last movie and where we pick them up in the next one. So everything just ends up not mattering. There's not even any like new side characters introduced. We're like, oh, that's intriguing. I wonder where that's going to go. No, it just doesn't matter. None of it matters.
So the third sister isn't a new character that has like a character arc in this, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, now she could potentially be like someone going forward they could build something around, or at least put her into another storyline as a former Inquisitor who's now, basically, gone back to the light.
They could. I don't think they will, because frankly, that character was confusing.
How?
I mean, help me out here. So she had beef with Vader, right?
Okay.
Okay, so her main goal in life was to get back at Vader. So she joined the Inquisitorius and worked her way up through the ranks just to get at Vader. Is that right? And
that's correct.
It's an actual question. It's not clear from the show.
It's very clear from the show. If you want to question anything, question why so many people ran through with the lightsaber and survive. Okay, there you go.
It's on my list. Don't worry, we're getting there.
I'll give you that one.
But really, like, okay, so she survived Order 66.
Okay,
and she's got beef with Obi-Wan because he wasn't there to protect him. Which that would have been a really easy conversation. They had that conversation. Why didn't he just go, well, I was busy killing General Grievous, and then Order 66 happened on me. So I was too busy trying to be killed myself to help you not die. Sorry. So, like, her whole beef with Kenobi not being there to protect him, like, he was doing something kind of important. He was, like, ending the Clone Wars. So she's got beef with Kenobi for no good reason, and she's got beef with Vader because he was the one doing all the killing. So she joins him for her entire life up until this series, and then decides she's gonna execute her plan.
Cam McLeish says, "Holy hell! Okay, it might have been too hasty to announce the network partnership because this is about to be a bloodbath." He's right. You know what you're doing right now, dude? You are that fan that we have ripped relentlessly on this show. Well, that doesn't make sense. Why did it do this? That's not, the light doesn't reflect off the lightsabers. This doesn't make sense. You're that guy. You're officially that guy. I knew this would fucking happen. You are that guy. Dude.
Well, okay. How dumb or how deep do you want my points to go? Because I've got the full range tonight.
Well, that's fine.
I've
Go
got
for it, because
notes.
you're going to be wrong. Dude, okay. They didn't, okay. I can't believe you bring up, oh, well, there weren't any new characters that,
Question.
there weren't.
Question. Was Reva ever like an on-purpose Inquisitor? Like, did she ever actually like fall where she just believed in the dark side? Or was she just pissed at Vader and this entire career was just to get at Vader? I'm not sure. So please answer it.
Kale, confirmed. AJ is that guy. AJ is that guy right now. It doesn't matter. That you're asking for, excuse me, you're asking for, she's a youngling and then all of a sudden she's an Inquisitor. Well, you need to tell me what happened in all those years before. Like, no, you don't. She's fucking jaded because Anakin Skywalker ran her through with the lightsaber and Obi-Wan Kenobi was like the savior and he wasn't there. And, all you had to do is have that conversation. When? He went into hiding. When are they going to have that conversation? You want him to have that conversation? When are they going to have that conversation?
Hold. I've got notes. Episode 4.
So Reva's in episode 4?
No. 5. Episode 5. Episode 5.
Of the show. Okay, I'm thinking you're New Hope Empire. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
No. Part 5. We'll call them parts because that's what they're titled. Yeah, in part 5, when they're laying siege to Jabeam, I think is a planet.
Yes.
Yeah, they're talking through the door, and that's when they had that conversation. And yeah, Reva's like, "You weren't there. You weren't there to protect us." And all Obi-Wan would have had to say is like, "I was fighting Grievous. I was doing my job. Sorry."
Okay, so what's going to change? As soon as she said that, that's when he goes, "Holy shit, you're not trying to kill me. You're using me as bait to lure in Vader." So if he goes, "Wait a minute, I wasn't there because I was doing this, that, and the other," it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter at all. The end game is not Kenobi for her. It's Vader.
Yeah, but she was... See, this is what I'm saying. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out what her plan was this whole damn time. Because it changes. It's super vague. Okay, so as I understand it, let me see if I piece this together right. Because she was at the temple during Order 66, she saw Anakin Skywalker doing the killing.
Anakin Skywalker killed her and her friends.
Okay.
Didn't kill
Fine.
her, but
now,
because getting gored with the lightsaber.
Somehow she learned that this Darth Vader guy is Anakin Skywalker, which I don't think that even makes sense. But okay. So now she's got beef with Vader because she saw Anakin/Vader leading the troops in Order 66. Got it. Okay, so she wants to exact revenge on Vader. So she joins the Inquisitorius, builds this whole reputation for being a hothead. Then she decides that what she's going to do is she's going to get Kenobi involved by kidnapping Princess Leia because she knows that's Bail Organa's kid. And Bail Organa knows Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Kenobi was Anakin's master. Do I have this clear? Is this the plan?
Why is this so goddamn difficult? Yes. She knew that Obi-Wan
That
was
is a lot of steps, dude. If all she had to do was get in a room with Vader and surprise him with a lightsaber, she had her entire life before this show to do that. Plus,
I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're doing this.
Plus, she,
I
like I
can't
said,
believe you're doing this.
I don't know how she ever pieced together that Anakin is Darth Vader, the guy in the suit, and she knows nothing about the fact that Leia is Vader's kid. So how the hell did she know that abducting that kid was going to get Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding, which was going to lure Vader somewhere that she could get a lucky shot in?
It's all explained in the show.
No, that's like 5 steps of bullshit, man. That is a really convoluted plot.
See, you're that guy. You are that guy.
Fine, we'll be more direct about it.
Kale says, I see Reva as being like Maris Brood from The Force Unleashed. She didn't truly believe in the dark side, but she's been jaded by her master leaving and believes that the dark side keeps her safe, or at least safer than she would be to stay on the light side and eventually be found out and destroyed. That at least gave her the opportunity to take a shot at Vader. Yeah, I mean, dude, I really don't understand why you're nitpicking this thing. Like, what is
Okay, so
like? Show me on the doll where Kenobi hurt you. Show me on the doll where the concept of Kenobi hurt you. Why are you nitpicking it this much? It's obvious what the storyline is, man. There are a bunch of stories in Star Wars that have all this kind of stuff unexplained when you go into it. Okay, so why this one? Why is this the one that you're choosing to have red ass about? I don't understand.
Because it's not the fact that it's not explained. It's the fact that it doesn't make sense. The
Why doesn't it make
character
sense?
itself doesn't make sense. Like, all the other Inquisitors are either bad guys from the start or they're Jedi who turned after Order 66. Okay, got it. Clear as day. But this one hates Vader, so joined Vader to get a shot at Vader later on.
Okay, well, don't forget.
That's a lot.
She didn't die in Order 66. So as a Padawan...
if you want to strip it down even further, in Part 5, remember that whole conversation you were just talking about where Obi-Wan's like, oh, you're using me as bait. And the whole thing with the flashbacks to like Episode 2 era, like Anakin and Obi-Wan sparring with each other in the temple, is all about, like how to outsmart Vader because he's too aggressive and he could be blinded by like his laser focus,
Kale. Hey, John,
hey,
if you need
we're moving to a new network. Might as well get a new co-host.
Right. Nice. Look, Kale's mad at you. He says, in all caps, it makes plenty of sense, AJ. Kale's on it tonight, man. You got him fired up, too.
Hey, that's fine, man. You knew this was going to happen. This is why we had this show. You're like, oh, you disagree with me. So I'm saying why I disagree. Even in Part 5, right there. So the whole plan is like, she's using Obi-Wan to distract Vader so she can sneak up on him, right? Because all he's going to do is be laser focused on Obi-Wan, and then she's got her opening. Yeah?
Yeah.
She never attacks Vader while he's distracted by Obi-Wan. Ship gets away with Obi-Wan on it. Then she strolls in and decides to fight him.
You do realize that Vader is like the smartest and best. Like,
yeah, you know what you do? When he's sitting there using the Force to try to pull the ship back down to the ground, stab him in the back with your friggin' lightsaber. That's a distraction.
You really are that guy. You really are that fucking guy. I can't believe it. You are supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them.
You are my brother, Anakin.
You really are that guy. Oh my God. 8 years we've been ripping on people that do this shit. Now you're doing it.
Dude, if you're going to hype up something as big as we got Ewan and Hayden back, you're going to see Obi-Wan and Vader again. It better be awesome.
And it was. It was kick ass.
It was unnecessary.
It doesn't matter if it's unnecessary. A lot of things in Star Wars are unnecessary. But you know what this did? It expanded that relationship between Obi-Wan and Vader, even to the point. It
didn't need expanded.
Yes, it doesn't matter if it needed expanded. It's awesome that they did it. It's cool. It fleshes it out more. It adds to the other things you watch.
What more did you learn? What more did you learn about Vader and Kenobi from this show that you didn't already know?
Oh, I can make one
they
huge
fought one more time?
And it was, by the way, one of the best lightsaber battles in the history of Star Wars. Fight me on that shit.
Was it? I couldn't see it.
Oh, God damn it. Seriously? Oh my God! Next thing you're gonna pull your I could tell when it was the volume thing. Jeez, oh Pete. Oh my God! I finally. You know what though? I love this because you are now the manifestation of all the people I've wanted to fucking scream at for the last decade, and now I've got one right in front of me. So there.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Damn it, dude. So at the end of the fight, when Obi-Wan walks away, which by the way is amazing because that's the total Jedi move. I'm not going to kill you. Even though he says my friend is truly dead. And then they completely explain the line in episode 4 when he goes, whatever, goodbye, Darth. That way, in episode 4, when people go, why does he call him Darth? Why doesn't he call him Anakin? Now you know why. He let go of the Anakin thing and just gave in to he's Vader now. Oh, Nick Hartley, the answer is yes. Nick Hartley says the cure for Star Wars is more Star Wars. Yes, exactly. Yes.
No, dude, even that, it's stupid.
Awesome.
It's just stupid.
Oh, shut the fuck up. No. How is it stupid? It's one simple line that makes people shut the fuck up about something that happened in episode 4 they've been bitching about ever since they brought Star Wars back after the original trilogy. What's wrong with that?
Because that means that Obi-Wan had 2 chances to end Vader and spare all the trouble he caused the galaxy, and he let him go twice.
That's not the Jedi way.
The first time I get it. It's his brother, and he's traumatized. He's going to leave him there, which also dick move, by the way. You're not going to help him, even though he just got burned alive. You're going to leave him there to fester and probably die. So that was episode 3, though. That was Revenge of the Sith. That's its own thing. But then, fine. If he's like, fine, you're Darth Vader now. You're not Anakin Skywalker anymore. Then kill him. What are you going to do? If he was fighting the Emperor, would he have left the Emperor alive too? No, you kill him.
Well,
you don't leave the guy alive so he can go torture the galaxy some more.
Or we can quote Anakin Skywalker from episode 3. I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way. And here, Kale McLeish is my new best friend. Not that you haven't been a best friend, Kale, but you know what I mean. Look at this one. I didn't even think about this. Kale says, also, the entire series culminates into why Leia called her son Ben. That is absolute brilliance, Kale, and I didn't even notice it. That is fucking brilliance. AJ, just sit the rest of this show out. You don't have a leg to stand on, just like Vader
That
doesn't.
is a valid point. We haven't gotten around to Leia yet. There are good points, but you just started in on one of the bad ones. That's all,
dude. The whole
just
thing,
because the entire reason for the show being was trash doesn't mean there weren't good points.
Okay, like I understand that maybe we didn't need it, and dude, full disclosure, you and I have talked about this on the show many times with the novel Kenobi. We're like, what the hell could possibly happen that matters? Well, but they told the story, and god damn it, like it was supposed to be a 2.5-hour movie. If you don't like this, you definitely wouldn't have liked it in a 2.5-hour movie. Because there would have been stuff cut out. It would have been just a goofy story. Like, then it would have really been pointless. But they had time to flesh this out. They were forced to flesh it out with added stuff and added character, this, that, and the other. And, dude, it adds to the character of Obi-Wan. It shows, like, him, getting his power back. It's like he was this beaten down husk of who we knew. Like, there's so many great things about this. And that last episode, man, the ending... After when he leaves Vader, goodbye, Darth, whatever, and Reva, turning back to the light side, and then, I mean, if you don't get all the Star Wars feels when Obi-Wan goes back to Alderaan, I mean, they play Leia's music when he's describing the qualities he got from Padme and Anakin. She got, excuse me. Dude, like the music is there, the feel is there. I mean, it is all the Star Wars, man. Like it's all the Star Wars. Like this series is great. I can't believe of all people, you are the one that I'm having this debate with because we usually, if we don't agree, we're pretty close. I can't believe that we're this far off because usually you're not 100% wrong, but on this one you're fucking 100% wrong. Continue.
Well, I'm not coming at you just going, it sucks. That's it.
Well, this is what you sound like.
I got reasons.
You sound like. How many Twitter burner accounts do you have? Or I'm sorry, X burner accounts do you have to go slag people on there about how much it sucks and everything? How many of those do you have? You fucking
Dude.
tool.
Oh my God. this is the problem with binging it, because then you got time to like see a lot of the holes that you don't see otherwise. Here's one
You're
that you probably haven't thought of. Okay, here's one you probably haven't thought of. Again, look, they're the ones that introduced this problem. By inserting this story, they are now going to have to face their own continuity in canon, right? You can't just like wave it away, be like, oh, who cares about that? You wrote a story that didn't need to happen. So if you're going to put it in there, it better line up. So how about this? Obi-Wan didn't know that Anakin had survived, right?
Correct.
Okay. So as far as he knew, Anakin / Vader died on Mustafar at the end of Revenge of the Sith when he walked away. So the big reveal from Reva in part 2 was that Anakin is alive. All right. So why is Obi-Wan shitting a massive brick in part 3 when Vader comes stomping down the street on not Jabim, whatever the first planet was that they went to? He's never seen that guy in his life. He doesn't know who's in the suit.
You can't be serious right now. You seriously can't.
Explain it.
You can't be serious right now.
No, I think it's just an honest mistake where the writers just assume that everybody knows this stuff. But at that point, Obi-Wan would not have known that Vader was that guy in the suit. He'd never seen him. He didn't know that Anakin had survived.
I really can't believe I'm even.
Which means that he's never even heard of
Darth.
Darth Vader, by the way. He's never even heard of Vader until this series.
You know what? I'm going to let Nick Hartley say it for me because you are so goddamn stupid right now. Nick Hartley says he can sense that it's Anakin. For the love of God, AJ, how difficult is that? You are being that guy. It's obvious. What? How do you? You're literally looking to pick holes in this. You're literally looking to pick holes in it. You know goddamn well.
Ahsoka sure as hell didn't know it was Anakin in the suit in Rebels. That was a revelation to her.
Okay, Ahsoka's not Obi-Wan, okay? Obi-Wan is like the second greatest Jedi ever. Ahsoka's some dummy with 2 white lightsabers, okay? You know, go ahead and sue me, everybody. For
now that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Right
you know
now.
You're going to get some Ahsoka stands coming after you for that one.
Screw Ahsoka Screw Ahsoka. I don't care. She's not Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan would kick her ass. Obi-Wan's the second greatest Jedi ever. Or third if you want to like tip the scales between him and Mace Windu, whatever. Dude, how you know
Qui-Gon and Yoda, but keep trying.
You know what I mean? Ahsoka's way down the list. Damn it.
You are so easy. You are so fun to play with. Okay, let's keep going.
Nick Hartley, whoa. She's the best character in Star Wars. It's all plot devices. Nick Hartley, I'm going to ban you from the chat for saying that. Han Solo is the best character in Star Wars. Love of God. What is happening? Holy shit. Dude, he senses it's Anakin. Why do you think Vader stopped and went, whoop? He sensed Obi-Wan. Why does this even need to be explained? You knew that as soon as it happened on the show. You knew it. So why are you nitpicking it? You goddamn well knew it.
Nitpicking. I do not think it's nitpicking to say, hey, you don't know your own continuity, writers. You have screwed up there.
How? How did they screw it up?
I've seen that suit.
It doesn't matter about the suit. It's who's in the suit, you dickhead. For the love of God. What is happening here? Did you is this AI and you programmed it to be an asshole or something? Like, is this like an AIU? Like, not AIU in letters, but AI and you, like, you know, God damn it, you got me. Look, oh, come on! You knew that he sensed him, dude. Come on. That is nitpicking on your part. That's total nitpicking on your part. You goddamn well know that they sensed each other. They did it in episode 4. I mean, Christ's sakes.
Yeah, and I think episode 4 makes more sense without this show.
It does not.
I swear so much of it does.
Why? In episode 4, Obi-Wan and Vader seem like complete enemies. And yet in the prequels, they're like, yes, they do. Oh, In A New Hope, you're gonna tell me that Obi-Wan and fucking and Vader seem like old long lost pals? Are you kidding me right now?
Dude,
are
the
you
fact that
really saying
even Vader
that?
knows? Even Vader knows escape is not his plan. Like, he's not there to fight. He's there to distract.
Okay.
Which makes Vader all the dumber because all the shit that he pulled in episode 4 was done in this series. So it's happened twice to him now. Just like Obi-Wan is stupid because he left him alive at the end of Revenge of the Sith and he leaves him alive at the end of this show. They keep repeating the same mistakes. They're not repeating the same mistakes if this show doesn't exist.
Dude, I really don't understand what you're not seeing. You are willingly trying to dislike this show. I'm going to say it again. Show me on the doll where the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus touched you. Like, why? I get it. Like, do we need the story? No. But it's the same thing everybody said about Solo, and yet you and I love Solo. And didn't that like enhance?
I'm trying to figure out what the difference is. I really am, because it comes down to execution somehow, and that's where I don't understand where it's coming from. But something just never hit about this show for me, and when I rewatch it, it hits even less.
Oh my God.
And
You
yes,
are
I will
so
harp on
wrong.
the fact that everything is so friggin' dark. I couldn't see crap.
Well,
Cranked
that
up the
one,
brightness to full. I'm like, why are these sets so flat and like without light at all? They got to fight at night on barren, flat rocks that have like no visual interest.
yeah.
The lightsaber combat itself might be good, but the way it was shot was just, it was physically hard to see.
I will give you that, because when I rewatched the final episode tonight, we were in the living room, and even with the blinds shut, it was still like any kind of light behind us was like, it was really difficult to see.
Mm-hmm.
But when I binged it on Saturday, I was down in the man cave like late at night, so it was dark, so I could see fine. But you're not wrong on that. So it's I hate to.
That's the one problem. The one problem they've got, one with new cameras that can capture low light better, and also having actual LEDs in the sabers now, so they do cast light on the actors. They're playing a lot more with that instead of like in the olden days where they had to light the crap out of the set regardless, because otherwise nothing would be captured in the shot. So there's something to be said for like the old school limitations, because it was actually easier to follow what was going on. And when you're going to have a kick-ass lightsaber duel like this, you want to see all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll give you that. I mean, if your complaint about the show is going to be, well, there should have been more contrast and brightness so you could at least see a little better. Okay, fine. But your other stuff is just, oh my God.
Yeah, when Obi-Wan refers to these as the dark times in A New Hope, I don't think he was actually talking about the light level, but it's kind of true.
Nice. Joseph Frank, good to see you, man. I forgot to call you back yesterday. He said, let's skip the part where episode 4, A New Hope, was Star Wars. The story they're choosing to tell now is, how do we get from the prequels to the first movie? This show is the middle of their story. Yeah, that's the whole point, AJ. It's fleshing.
That's not how drama works. That's not how storytelling works. You tell stories in the most interesting manner possible, not in the most chronological manner possible, and forget it.
But you already have the chronology established, so now you've got to flesh it out and make it mean more. Again, in A New Hope, Vader and Obi-Wan seem like complete enemies, and yet in the prequels, they're best friends. So you have to. You don't have to. But if you want to tell more Star Wars stories, one of the good ones to tell is, how do they go from best friends to, okay, I basically hate you. Like, that's what this is kind of doing. I mean, it's, I like, oh my gosh.
Sorry. Kale yelling in the comments just cracks me up.
You aren't how drama works.
Oh my God. It's flashed me back to Archer. You're not my supervisor. Anyway.
Wow. There's a nerd property we haven't touched on this show yet.
We'll have to get the third brother on for that one.
Yes.
Anyway,
AJ, JT, and DA. Boy, will that be?
I was going to say, we don't really have a third brother. It's kind of like the fifth Mark's brother. We don't really acknowledge him in our careers here.
Okay. Now, wait a minute. That's
in
a
our
horrible
careers
thing
as
to say.
podcasters, I said.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, if you say like we don't really acknowledge our older brother, like that's a horrible thing to say.
No.
People are gonna think.
No, I'm only
brother,
trying to trigger you tonight, not him.
Oh my god, I seriously can't believe that you're looking at it this way. Like I'm shocked. Honestly, I came into this thinking that after you rewatched it, you'd be like, yeah, I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was. And instead we both went further into our arguments.
Yeah. Let's pivot to the good stuff, though. Got
The
two
whole
words
show?
for you.
Okay.
Princess Leia.
Yes, thank you. And okay, even that, dude. Even that. That is like a character that people have shit on her and Reva Moses. I forget her last name. The actress. They have shit on those two actresses the most in this series, and yet Moses Ingram. Thank you.
I don't know how I came up with that, but okay. Yeah, good. 1 point for me.
Probably because all the online dickheads who now you're friends with apparently have just crapped all over her for no reason.
That I hate. I hate the fact that they go after the people that act in these things. Like, you're the problem. Like, she did what she was told. That's the actor's job.
Yeah.
If you don't like the way the character was written, it doesn't mean the actress is at fault.
And you know what these people need to do?
It's like going after Kelly Marie Tran because you don't like Rose Tico,
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to go solo for this because I do have a teeny little rant to go on against Star Wars fans. Boy, thank God we're not in the network now. I really wanted to say this. So these people that are going off about Moses Ingram, they really need to start looking at Star Wars history. They need to look at Hayden Christensen, Ahmed Best, actors like that who just got they crushed them. And then all of a sudden, like 10, 15 years later, they're like, oh my God, you're my favorite. I went and rewatched it, and it's actually not as bad as I think. So all you people crapping on Moses Ingram and young Leia for their acting performances and this, that, and the other, fuck you. Okay? Stop shitting on these people because eventually you're going to love it. It happens all of the time. And no one can deny that it does. And I'm so tired of seeing this happen. And the only reason that it's slightly the teeniest bit okay with me is because of the redemption story. When you see like Hayden Christensen come out at Celebration Europe this last year, and the whole place goes nuts, and he's tearing up, and he's like, man, you guys sure know how to make a guy feel good. Like, that's awesome. But these goddamn fans that crap on these actors and actresses, shut the fuck up, okay? You can't do it, because if you could, you'd be in the business and you'd be in Star Wars, but you're not. And a decade from now, you're going to go back and be like, oh, I actually really like that character, so shut up, okay? Shut up. I'm so sick of seeing that crap. Okay, back to your normally scheduled programming.
No, I agree, and I'm going to follow on with that.
Sorry.
As much as we love this stuff and we're yelling at each other, we're still having fun with it. It's still entertainment at the end of the day. Okay,
Yes.
These aren't world leaders making decisions on the course of society that are ruining, life for entire populations at a time. They're just performers doing a job. So even if they shit the bed hard and they ruin your favorite franchise, it's just entertainment, people. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. And
I
it's
can't
good.
believe the way people they legit get death threats over this stuff. Like, what do you understand the value of a human life versus the value of the thing that they did that you don't like?
Right.
Like,
Yep.
Come on. That's just an ugly look all the way around.
Yeah. And it's disgusting because, like I said, I mean, dude, you and I were at the 20th anniversary panel for Phantom Menace, and the ovation that Ahmed Best got was just legendary. And then they bring him back as Kelleran Beck, and just play. Everyone loves that. In Mando, Hayden Christensen comes back. Everyone loves. It's like, just stop with this shit, dude. Like, it is so unbelievably tiring. Obviously I'm joking about you being one of those guys, but we do hate those sorts of fans that pull that crap. And it's, maybe it's gatekeeping on our part or something, whatever the hell the term is. I hate those internet terms, but I think we're not wrong in saying that, those people are just assholes. And Moses Ingram, I thought was awesome. I was watching with my wife tonight, and she said, man, I just don't like her. I don't like I don't like her. I don't like the acting and stuff. And I was like, but I said, think about this though. Like, it's kind of cool because she's like an evil Sith, but she's not technically a Sith. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's relatable. It's like a more modern version of a very old school kind of Elizabethan type character. And it's kind of cool that way. It kind of modernizes, dark side force users. And she's like, yeah, actually, that is kind of cool when you think about it like that. So, we'll get back on topic here in a quick second. But yeah, all the hate that she got was just so damn stupid. And I personally, I hope that she shows up again, because I thought that was really cool to have the whole, her whole thing was she originally was a Padawan, and then she goes. I know you're not a fan of all that going after Vader crap and whatever, but to turn back around and turn back to the light, like I think there's a lot of stuff to be able to be mined there. So I hope they go back to it, because I thought the character was cool. So. Sorry for the rant.
So, see, and this is where we talk about that balance. I'm with Steph on this one. I wasn't a fan of the character or the portrayal. Like, I don't know. There's like we grew up on George Lucas Star Wars, where the dialogue was very stilted and stylized, and these modern Star Wars productions are more just like you pulled somebody off the streets of modern day LA and dropped them in a galaxy far, far away. Like they're talking and speaking in ways that just like normal people talk, and that's kind of like what she did in this show. So I'm like, it's not very Star Warsy, I guess, is the dumbest way you could put it. But yeah, like when she busted out lines, I'm like, that's exactly the way a modern adult would say that exact thing in this year of real life, not a way that a character in Star Wars would say that. But I'm not going to sit there and say like, she's the worst thing ever. And, I'm going to send her an angry X or whatever the hell you call a tweet these days. Like,
right.
All right. So she did a thing and I didn't like the way she did that thing. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. I mean, to your point about like the dialogue and stuff like that, I don't mind it, because when I think of Star Wars dialogue trying to be too modern, to where I go, like when I notice it, I think back to the the opening scene of The Last Jedi, which I love The Last Jedi, obviously, but the whole like mom joke and I'll hold, and like that was like, okay, that's a little too out of the realm of this did not feel like that to me. Like, was it a little more modern way to speak? Yes. Was it a little bit out of Star Wars lexicon? A little bit, but it didn't throw me off. I was like, okay, I was still into the vibe of Star Wars while she was speaking that way. So, I want to get a couple comments up here, because our amazing viewers are chiming in here on this, and I kind of want to bring some cool comments up here, and then we'll go on to the positive stuff. So, Joseph Wren says, Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan Kenobi if Sir Alec Guinness is no longer alive. He's as perfect a choice as Ryan Reynolds being. God, I can't talk. He's as perfect a choice as Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool. We all want him to have a good Obi-Wan story. Yes. Kale is talking about young Leia. He says, brilliantly cast. She's honestly so good as Leia and almost playing a bit of Padme as well. Kale, that is an awesome observation yet again. I completely agree with that. Especially for a young girl like that to be able to pull that stuff off. Like, I thought it was awesome.
Did you see her at the panels at Celebration?
I did. Yeah, well, I saw a little bit of it. She's like talking.
I think they just. I'm pretty sure they actually have a time machine, and they took like a 37-year-old woman and just reversed her down to being 10 years old, because
right.
There's no way a child of her age talks that well.
Yeah. She acted. I mean, if you're going to be Princess Leia, you better be able to talk that well, I suppose. So,
oh my God, she was so good.
Mimar, awesome to see you. Thanks for tuning in. She's talking about, these fans that kind of crap all over everything that I was ranting about. She says they can choose to not like something and also not ruin everyone's good time. Dicks. Like, I completely agree. That is, they just try and like serve everybody a shit sandwich because they don't like it, and it's ugh. Kale McLeish on that topic says, have to agree with you, dude. What's the phrase? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Hate the character, not the actor. Yes. Completely agree, man. Yeah, I hate that was even a thing with this whole show. It's just, oof, my God. And Joseph Wren nails it. He says, always remember. Oh, Jesus, I burped on the mic. That was good. Always remember, John will hate this less than anything containing the whales from space. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are 3 weeks away from space whales.
Well, there was a Purgle in the show. Or at least there was a Purgle mention.
I know there was a Purgle mention. We're not going to talk about that.
Bail Organa was going to grow up and chase Purgles.
Yeah, you know what he didn't do? He didn't go chasing Purgles because even he knew they were fucking stupid. So there you go. There you go. So now onto the positives of the show, and I'll let you go there because to me everything was positive. I loved the vibe of it. It felt super Star Warsy. I loved the character arc of Obi-Wan in this as his power gradually ramps up and up and up and up. To your point, can we poke holes in certain things? Sure. Like when you get a hole poked in you with a lightsaber, it doesn't matter. You still survive, yada, yada. I don't care.
When you can barely move a comm link across a desk at the beginning of the episode and then you hold back an entire ocean 20 minutes later. Yeah.
Why did I bother doing this with you? I should have just done one of my solo episodes talking about how great it is.
Anyway, yeah, I want to talk more about Princess Leia.
Okay, let's do that.
So obviously, like, I think the acting was fantastic, but I mean, remember when the show first debuted, and one of the big questions we all had was, okay, how we knew that Obi-Wan was going to get off of Tatooine. So, okay, what could possibly get Obi-Wan to come out of hiding? And for them to pluck Princess Leia out of nowhere, like, I don't know who called that, because no one we talked to had any idea that was going to be happening.
Yep.
So to have her in the show at all was a stroke of genius. I love that.
Well, I mean,
and the way they wrote the character, I thought was just spot on. Amazing stuff.
I completely agree. And, you know, as you said, you think that this show is pointless. Well, if you're going to give it a point, what better way to give it a point than, because if it's just like Obi-Wan is on Tatooine and he's just going to go rescue some random person we don't know, then you could go, okay, well, okay, who really cares? What is this really doing? It's just showing Obi-Wan's still a hero. You can't do that. But because it's Leia, that gives it purpose. So there's your answer to, you know, so, and I totally agree on the acting and whatnot. I know a lot of people don't. I thought it was great. I mean, first of all, I'm not expecting, you know, Sir Laurence Olivier from a 10-year-old kid in these things. You know what I mean? And I just thought that it was great. It was, you know, she, if nothing else, she definitely had that Leia energy to her. You know, that spunk and that attitude and that defiance. And it was great. And, you know, again, when you're thinking, okay, well, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi's story, like what is going to matter? You just nailed it. Oh, I know. Let's bring in Princess Leia. You're like, holy shit, wow. Okay, so now the emotional stakes are way up there. And, you know, you said earlier, you know, we know how it's going to turn out. Well, yeah, we knew how it was going to turn out with Solo and with Rogue One and stuff like that. So it's all down to the writing to make you care and make you give a shit and make it make sense and make it matter. And they did that with this show. You know, it was like, and Leia was a huge part of that. Like it even added to the Leia character when you see her, you know. That's why she's so much more regal and so much more refined when we see her in A New Hope, as opposed to Luke, who's still just a farm boy because he hasn't had the life experiences that Leia's had. And it's cool to see that, you know. So, you know, I agree with you, man. The Leia thing was awesome.
Yeah, and I like the through line of her constantly treating droids like people. And, you know, it starts off with her cousin, like, ridiculing her for that. And, you know, she gets a good one-liner in on him about, like, you know, why do you treat lower life forms so politely? She's like, oh, then I guess I don't have to treat you very politely then.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. But that was cool to show, like, she's got that compassionate side to her and also this insightfulness and empathy. And then even in the first episode, when Obi-Wan tries to refuse Bail Bail calls him up like, "Oh my God, Leia's been kidnapped. We need your help." And he's like, "Well, I got Luke over here though, man." And he's like, "Screw you. Leia means just as much, and you know it." Like, yes, okay, cool, because everyone's all focused on like, gotta watch after the boy, gotta watch after the boy, gotta watch after the boy, and Bail's the one who stands up and says, "The girl matters too, as much or more." And turns out that that's actually kind of true throughout the way the rest of the movies play out. So
Right.
yeah, I thought that was great the way that they just not only found a way to get Leia in there, but also organically worked in organically. Anyway, worked in a reason that the characters should care in addition to the audience.
Yeah.
I thought that was like super clever.
Yep. No,
And plus, like every time she was on screen and doing stuff, I was like, yeah, that just I never had to like process. This is in my mind. This is how I know I'm enjoying something and the acting is good. I don't think about it like you're bitching about all these points that I have from earlier. But if the production was doing its job, I wouldn't have noticed those things. We've talked about this before where we can point out plot holes and stuff and we just don't care because it's just that good. In this, the plot holes and all these things did bother me because the rest of it wasn't. But like when Leia's on screen and she's delivering her lines, I'm just along for it. I'm not going like, is she believable that she would grow up into Carrie Fisher? Are they really the same character? No, it's Leia. It's just Leia through and through.
All right. I mean, I disagree with the other parts, but yeah, I mean, it is Leia. And to your point about the surprise of it all, like that was, I know when I watched the first episode and, because you had watched it before I did. And, I was sitting in the swimming pool and, at Celebration and I'm sitting there floating around and it was just really relaxing. And I had a drink in my hand. I'm watching, Kenobi on my phone and she comes out. I was like, holy shit, Princess Leia. Like, what the hell? Wow.
The other awesome thing about putting her in this show, again, if she hasn't been blacklisted because of fan response, now they've got a young Leia that if they do choose to revisit these characters in a few years, they've got a young Leia that will age up in time with the shows. So if they want to get like a Rebels era Leia in there, because Leia did make an appearance in that show, they've got her. They could do a live action 15-year-old Princess Leia, no problem.
That's another good point. Yeah, kind of like how, like, Ewan McGregor has aged into Obi-Wan. She ages into Leia. That's now. But now here's the thing: are you going to complain if they do a Leia story with her because you've said that this Obi-Wan thing is pointless? Don't you think the Leia anything Leia they would do would be pointless?
No, because there's nothing. We don't really know anything about Leia between her appearance in this. This is basically her first appearance in canon, except for as a newborn and A New Hope. So there's a lot of stuff that's happened to her that we know nothing about.
But does it matter? That's what I'm saying. You said this Obi-Wan story doesn't matter. Well, what does it matter? Leia becomes a senator. She like, what does it matter?
I feel like she's much more of a blank slate. I don't feel like the character arcs of Anakin or Obi-Wan were missing anything that this show needed to fill in. I think it reinforced parts of their characters, but it didn't really like add anything.
All right, you know what? I'll give you
like
that.
in Solo, for example. Solo starts off as idealistic. Well, he starts off idealistic and then ends up, jaded at the end. So we see how he made that transition. I don't think that Obi-Wan really ended up any different from this show other than to be like, okay, so he forgot for a while and then had to relearn how to be a Jedi. Okay. But he was already kind of there in A New Hope and in Rebels when he showed up in that too. So I don't think that seeing that transition in this show really like added any depth to his character.
I'll disagree on that. I think it added a lot of depth to the character.
And all that happened for Vader was for the Emperor to yell at him at the end and say, "Shut the fuck up about Kenobi. We've got things to do."
Okay, but it's like the first cracks in the armor that you see. It's like, okay, well, maybe there's this emotion there that is going to be untamable, which eventually does end up being the Emperor's downfall, Vader's emotion. I mean, I would say, is it necessary to like show this part of the Anakin Obi-Wan story? Like, maybe not. But to me, it's like it's one of the most intriguing relationships, if not the most intriguing relationship in all of Star Wars. So to throw more logs onto that fire, for want of a better term, I think it's great. Because it's like now you go back and watch the prequels, and you again, like it's kind of like, how I've always said in the prequels, like episode 3 is my favorite because like you know how it's going to end, so you know what's coming, so you're kind of like at the edge of your seat, like, oh my god, like, what the hell's going to happen? Well, now, like with this show, you see beaten down Ben Kenobi at the beginning, and then episode 2 of the show, part 2, Vader's coming in. And I mean, we knew that because of the casting announcement beforehand. But you're like, okay, well, now what the hell is going to happen? And then you're trying to figure out how it gets from, there to A New Hope. And it just adds that layer of intrigue and just more meat onto that bone. Like I used that analogy before because I'm terrible at analogies, but there's just there's more there to absorb, and it's a great relationship, and it really kind of, it does fill in that blank of, as I said earlier, they're best friends in the prequels, and then all of a sudden in A New Hope they're like bitter enemies. Like, so what the hell happened outside of basically Anakin getting burned to death? I know that's downplaying him burning to death, but Obi-Wan was still, you are my brother. He's sobbing at the end. He's heartbroken. So how does he go from being heartbroken to being like, screw you, you're a master of evil? As a Jedi, he just doesn't sit there and marinate and go, you know what? Actually, I do hate this asshole. Like, that's not what Jedi do. So how does he get to that point? And that's kind of what this show helps to answer. And I'll give it to you, dude. Do we need it? No. If you want to phrase it in those terms, no, we don't need that. But it's another awesome Star Wars story, and it's a really cool way to add some more layers to something we already love. And and I think Reva's a good character to build off of. You get Leia back, and it's your point. Now, they've got an actress that can age into the Leia thing, so get more Leia stories. There's just a lot to love about this, and the writing again is brilliant. It took something we didn't need and made it awesome, and now I feel like I need it. And this is having a Rogue One effect for me. In fact, we should coin that term. This should be an official Nerf Herder Council term.
Rogue One effect?
Yeah. When we watch something,
okay.
it just gets better and better and better and better and better every time we watch it. That's the Rogue One effect. So there we go.
Fair enough.
So
I was trying to figure out, like all the stuff you're talking about like it adds layers to the story for you and all that sort of stuff. I'm not smart enough for what I'm about to say, but I guess I was trying to think back to like, what are the common threads between the Star Wars that I like and the Star Wars that I don't like? And I think what it comes down to is like the best Star Wars always has something to say. Like it's not Star Wars for Star Wars' sake, which was, mentioned in the comments earlier. It was like Star Wars existed originally because George Lucas was making a commentary, about fascism and standing up to oppression. And that was the rebellion versus the empire. And then the prequel trilogy was about complacency and how the pursuit of security leads to the loss of freedom. And Andor is this awesome thing, and Rogue One is this awesome thing because it's about the difference between like ethics and morality. Like, how far can you compromise yourself in the name of something you believe in before it's over the line? So there's always like a theme, and then they just use the universe of Star Wars to tell that story and examine that premise. I can't find that in the show.
Okay.
Sequel trilogy. I can't find it in the sequel trilogy either. That was like Star Wars for Star Wars' sake. Like, here's TIE fighters and X-Wings and lightsabers. Woohoo! Let's make $1 billion.
Okay. Do you have that feeling about Solo?
It's a good point. I can't off the top of my head come up with like a deeper theme for Solo, but I very much like that one.
Okay.
I mean, all I can think of for that one is just showing how idealism doesn't always play in the real world. But yeah, I don't really have a deep meaning in Solo. But that might be why people kind of crap on it. There's something at a deeper level that just doesn't resonate with the audience,
Man,
I mean, let's face it. The reason we're not making Star Wars is because we're not smart enough to perceive certain things that make a good movie or a story. Otherwise, we'd be writing it ourselves. So there's something there that is imperceptible. Well, it's subconscious to us. Like it's purposely put in the story for us, but we don't know it's there, And whatever that something is, for me, it's not there in this one.
I mean, I think bring up my screen's freezing. So bring up Joseph Friend's comment there. He says it's hard to shut down your expectations when you watch Star Wars, but I think we have to if we're going to enjoy it. I don't think the re-edits and changes are okay, but something new is just a story. I mean, it's cool to get another story. I mean, basically you could have this or you could have nothing. And this is damn good. I mean, and I'm not saying, this is filler or let's just throw out filler for the sake of having more Star Wars. But if you're going to nitpick everything and you absolutely have to have it mean something all the time, it's not going to happen all the time.
I don't think it has to be out in front, to where the audience perceives it, but I think that's where a lot of these things start from, and then the writing blossoms from there. I think this started from, Solo was just, okay, we're going to show you how Han Solo came to be the guy that you met in A New Hope. And then this was supposed to be the next in that series if it had continued as a movie. And this was going to be, I guess, explaining how Obi-Wan got from the guy you saw in Revenge of the Sith to being the guy you saw in A New Hope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like there was really a mystery there.
But again, Solo, using Solo as kind of like the litmus test, there wasn't a need there either. But it still was. It was awesome and it was fun, and that's what we want out of Star Wars. And it's you get to see more of the characters that you love, and I joke all the time about if they could just make a movie with Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon driving around and kicking ass, for 2.5 hours, I'd buy it. Everyone else would hate it, but I'd be like, hell yeah, dude, it's Han Solo and the Falcon up your ass. I would love it. I mean, but legitimately, you cannot do something like that. But, when they do these stories, is there a point to this? Do we need it? No. But is it awesome to see more of the characters we love? Yes. And it's not just them running around kicking ass. It's, okay, how did they get to this other point that we've already seen? And it does add an emotional layer to it. I mean, in this one, you actually see Owen and Beru as as aunt and uncle, whereas Uncle Owen in A New Hope just looks like a broken down old prick. Every time I see that movie, I'm like, well, why would Luke want to stay with that crusty old bastard? F that guy, get the hell out of there too. Well, in this one, you kind of see that he is trying to be a father figure. He actually does care. He does love Luke. You know what I mean? So you get that added thing there, and the whole thing at the end where Leia's rescued, but then Obi-Wan's like, holy crap, Luke, the importance of the children comes into play. Okay, it wasn't just episode 3 ends, Luke goes off with Obi-Wan, Leia goes off with Bail Organa, and nothing happens until A New Hope. They just sit there in beautiful harmony and nothing. No, it's it's cool. It's kind of okay, well, it makes their journey to get to that movie, it makes that mean more. There were trials and tribulations. I hate using typical terms like that, but there were hurdles and hardships and trials and tribulations along the way. It wasn't just this smooth, easy road. They were hunted. The Jedi were hunted.
Where do you come down on Joe's comment here about everything Luke in this show is filler? It's the only piece you can cut and throw away. I think he might be right on that. that was one of the big hurdles I had actually with that finale episode. That the 5th episode to me is the finale for the most part, minus the big fight between Vader and Obi-Wan, because all the stuff on Tatooine where Reva now decides she's going to go hunt down Luke, like that was a weird thing. And also, like, they tried very hard to make sure that Luke never knew that it was anyone with a lightsaber coming after him. And yet there's clearly a shot where he's running across the desert and there's a red lightsaber like trailing after him that he sees like clear as day.
Well, wouldn't you?
I felt like they kind of like wrote themselves into a problem with that one.
Wouldn't you run your ass off if you thought it was a Tusken Raider, and instead it's some person running at you with a laser sword?
Well, that's the thing. Luke would know what the hell a Tusken Raider is at this point. He would know that is not a Tusken Raider.
That's why he's running and damn near shitting his pants. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm okay. By the time it gets to A New Hope and all that, like, he's never seen any of this crap before. He gets his dad's lightsaber when Obi-Wan gives it to him, and he's not like, oh, this is like that red one that I saw when I was 10 years old and being chased through the desert.
I can't believe you're nitpicking.
I'm telling you, it's like Joe said. I think they could have just ignored Luke. They didn't need Luke anywhere in this story, other than a mention to be like why Obi-Wan didn't want to leave Tatooine.
Well, first of all, Joe says it. He says he's running because Uncle Owen told him to run. And as for needing Luke, Luke is the turning point for Reva. Reva is going to get her revenge somehow, and so she's going to kill. This is why I should have finished the last episode, because now I'm trying to remember.
Did Vader know about Luke at this point?
No.
Because it's not really revenge on Vader if she's just going to go kill his son and he doesn't know he's even got one.
No. But Bail Organa says, she finds the smashed message disc in the sand after, she gets run through, and it's, Bail Organa saying knows about the children. So she's like, okay, Leia, there's another one, and it's on, Tatooine. And again,
now I'm even more confused. Hold on. So
discuss Metal Joe.
So Vader didn't know he had kids, and Reva didn't know that those kids were Vader's. So I'm trying to connect the dots on how like Reva knew that Luke was of any importance to anyone that she was pissed at.
Well, Joseph Friend says Reva could.
Maybe I am just being stupid about this, but
you are. Believe me, you are. Joseph Friend says Reva could have had her turning point with any small child on any of the planets. No, that's not the point. You guys are both missing it. So this whole thing is centered around like Leia's.
The point is John's always right, and that's just end of it.
I am in this one because obviously you weren't watching the show. You were dicking around doing some other stupid shit. So the whole thing is like about Leia this, Leia that. She knows that Leia is Bail Organa's child. She fails in her thing with Vader. She's angry, and she sees the thing, and Bail Organa says, children. Meaning it's not just Leia, there's another. So she knows there's two. So that's why she's going after Luke. It's not just any other. It's not, I'm going to just go kill any other friggin' youngling.
Well, now I'm trying to remember how she connected the dots to know that Luke was the other kid that was being referenced.
I'm trying to remember that too. I know I'm dropping the ball on that.
He's like the only kid on Tatooine. It was a process of elimination. Like no.
Well, but again, it could have been, she, went after Owen Lars in the first episode. He knows something about a Jedi or whatever, and so maybe she's just like, okay, well, she sensed he knew something about Obi-Wan, and so she's going after Owen and whatever, and it, she also. It could be a Force sense thing. I don't remember if there was a specific moment where it was discussed that she knew about the kids, but even so, it's like as a plot device, dude, it's one of those things that we haven't questioned in other movies and other series. So why the hell are we doing it now? It's entertaining.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's some sort of a flaw in how this came together that it bothers me here and it doesn't at other times. I don't think it's just me choosing to be a prick on this one thing because I wanted to like it. So the fact that I'm able to find holes in it, there's just something that didn't hit for me. So I'm busy finding reasons not to like it because I already know I don't like it. Now I'm just trying to explain why.
Yes. I see now I'm going to go rewatch it again. Go figure. Because I would like to know too. Like I don't have a problem with it if it's just one of those things like, you know, as Sammy Hagar says, like what is understood does not need to be discussed. You know, it's, you know, it is what it is, and it adds to the story.
We are running up on time here a little bit. So do you want to do like a quick little lightning round of things we enjoyed?
Yes.
Because
things you enjoy.
We got stuck on a few topics for a really long time, and yeah, haven't brought up a lot of stuff.
Well, you bring it up because I loved everything.
Okay, Lola.
Dude, come on.
Love Lola.
LOLA 59. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome. I think I actually didn't mind the Grand Inquisitor.
What's there to mind? It was amazing.
Well, people were complaining that like he doesn't look like the animated version, and the voice is different, and the outfit changed. Like, it works for me.
Stop. And while we're on the subject of Inquisitors, I really hope we get more of the. Am I allowed to say like the Asian Inquisitor? Is that you know,
Fifth brother?
Fifth brother, yes. That guy was awesome.
Can we get him a lozenge?
No. You know we can get him? We can get him a fight with fucking Chirrut Imwe, and let's let that shit go down. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, I'm down for that.
It. I would love I
would
love
work.
the fifth brother. Love the fifth brother.
Okay. Other things. Kale mentioned it earlier, the clone veteran.
Yes. Tem Morrison.
Yes. And he's even that character has had a little backstory written for him. It just came out in a visual dictionary that's going to come out later this year. Star Wars Explained just did a little video on it today, actually. And he this clone was apparently at Order 66. He was at Christophsis, and he was at Umbara, which, if you remember Clone Wars, that's like one of the most tragic arcs there is, when it's clones versus clones, because the Jedi General turns to the dark side and convinces both sides that the other side is the enemy wearing friendly armor.
Oh,
so
God.
Yeah, so basically this guy had the ultimate shit life, and now he's just an old decrepit vet on the streets of Dayun, whatever. Dayun, yeah. Dayu, there you go, Dayu.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. The Tem cameo was definitely awesome.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure the holographic image, the holographic mugshot of Kenobi that people were carrying around, I think that was the cover art from John Jackson Miller's Kenobi novel.
Really?
I think so. I can't confirm that, but it looked familiar, and I looked up the image of the book cover, and it seems to line up.
Wow, okay.
So that's a cool little Easter egg. I like that. Fortress Inquisitorius. How great did that look?
Dude. The whole, like, most of its underwater thing was awesome and creepy, and like, that was amazing.
Purge Troopers.
Yes.
Live action Purge Troopers. Gotta love that. If you're a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, we got Flea.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he got his wang chopped off, by the way. Because, I mean, we know how that guy's built. And that lightsaber, you know, what's the first thing that's going to hit a spinning lightsaber for being pulled towards it, really? Come on.
Right. Look at Cale McLeish talking about the drunken trooper. It was a 10 out of 10. 2 thumbs up, Cale. Nice. Well played, my friend. Well played. It was a 10 out of 10. All right.
Okay, so yeah. So all awesome stuff. I mean, I thought that again, Leia was amazing. She had so many good little one-liners and stuff. How about the little nugget that Obi-Wan might have a brother?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
His name is
every
Fred,
one of
Fred
like
Kenobi.
yeah, Fred Kenobi. There we
It's
go.
Fred. He's
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's exactly it. It's Obi-2 and Obi-Wan. That's phenomenal. Oh, anyway, sorry.
The episode 2 flashback, yeah,
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
and the Order 66 flashback too.
Yes.
So seeing the
Yes.
prequel stuff was obviously awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, like you said, just wrapping it up and getting to see getting to see why Leia names her son Ben.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Like, so there was a lot of good stuff in this. For me, a lot of it was based. Oh, name drop of Quinlan Voss.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got some good lore stuff. I just the main thrust of the whole thing was Obi-Wan versus Vader, and I'm like, that's the part I like the least.
No, that was awesome. That was the ultimate display of him getting his force powers back, like not being buried alive and just dominating Vader again. It was just, and dude, 2 things you left out that were amazing. Come on, when he meets Luke, hello there. I mean, we got a hello there. You gotta have it, and it was at the perfect time. And dude, come on, you can't tell me you weren't waiting for the whole damn series for some goddamn Qui-Gon Jinn. And
I forgot about that. Yes,
dude, Qui-Gon Jinn,
yes.
come on.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Okay.
Like, dude, oh my gosh. Like, I'm telling you, like, I just loved every bit of it. It was like, you know, I mean, to your point, is there goofy stuff and everything? Like Haja, like, I forget who the actor is, but he's a comedian and whatever, and he seemed like a comedian throughout. But then he got serious in the last few episodes, and it was pretty cool. You know, it was kind of a turn for him, which I thought was cool. For me, I just love the vibe of the whole thing. Again, like it was cool to me when I watched it piece by piece when it came out, but binging it the other night, like as one giant movie, it was just there's an emotion to it that felt so old school Star Wars. And I mean, dude, you know what? The ultimate positive to this thing, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, that guy. They could just give me more Ewan as Obi-Wan for years, and I'll lap it all up, dude. It's like, I think like I would have to really think about this, but because of Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi might be my second favorite Star Wars character. Like I just that portrayal and beefing that character up and just the way that he's like such this amazing Jedi, but so humanized now is just absolutely fantastic for me. And I just love the way he does it, and this whole thing of he cut himself off from the Force. He couldn't do squat if he wanted to, at the beginning of the show, and then he kind of gets back into it. All of a sudden, like the power comes back. He just absolutely starts feeling it flowing again. It's just awesome to me. It feels right. It feels great. You're right. It's a story we did not need. But I love that we got it because it beefs up something I already love. It's so freaking cool, dude. It's like, do I already have a shitload of Cleveland Browns clothes? Yeah. Do I need more Browns clothes? No. But when I get a new hoodie and I throw that hoodie on over top of my other Browns clothes, it feels like I'm even more of a Cleveland Browns fan. And I love that. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I just had such a great time with it. Kale McLeish, he says, I want more of the training flashbacks. Yeah. I mean, totally. I mean, that in and of itself was totally worth it. And the way that they actually made it apply to the story, the way they wrote that. That
was cool.
Yeah.
That whole episode where they went cutting back and forth.
Yeah, there's just so much to love about this show. And again, I really liked it when I first saw it. Now, I think it might be my favorite, even over Mando.
Wow. Okay, that's huge. There's a difference between like I liked it and it's better than Mandalorian.
Yeah, and you know what? It
Holy
is only,
crap!
yeah. James Lever, I'm not even gonna bother with Jimmy. You stupid asshole. Dude, like I get it's only 6 episodes, so it's hard to compare against Mandalorian, which is like 24. But there's, and again, it also could be, as you say, the you know, the member berries thing might be coming into play for me. But man, there's so much feel, and it just feels like Star Wars to me. And honestly, I'm glad that the fans were complete idiots. The fans that shit on Solo and wouldn't go see it in the theater, because they're the reason that this didn't get made into a movie. Because that would have been like 2.5 hours long, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I think we would have lost out on a lot of great stuff. And I think it would feel rushed if you cut out, you know, the additional 2.5, 3 hours that we got in the TV series. So I'm actually glad that this got turned into a television series, because I think it works out way better that way. So
I would love to know what that script would have looked like for that movie, to see like
Yeah.
what they would have chosen to keep versus cut.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question from Gizmo here. Says the Kenobi book, I assume the John Jackson Miller one, which is Legends now. I think this series effectively replaces that. The Kenobi book would be great for season 2. Maybe. I did actually read that book, Gizmo. The short version is that basically he's got to save a town without ever showing that he's a Jedi. So he's trying to like lay low but still do the Jedi thing, which is kind of interesting. Like, how many different ways can Obi-Wan use the Force but not let anybody know that he's using the Force, kind of a thing.
Right.
And the lightsaber never comes out, that kind of stuff. And he kind of gets the thing going with a woman too, which is fun. You know, I mean, hell, if he's gonna really be living discreetly, dude needs to get laid. Okay, the Jedi celibacy thing has got to go out the window. Dude has got to start pulling.
Well, if he's one of the only Jedi, and you know, technically, there's really not a Jedi code to live by. I mean, he has to technically, but like, what is, you know, Qui-Gon Jinn gonna bitch him out or something? Like, Obi-Wan, you can't be doing that. Like, F you, dude. I'm stuck in the middle of the desert doing nothing for the next 18 years. I'm gonna go hook up, dude. Like,
okay, yeah, that's actually a good point with Qui-Gon though. So I don't know. You think like maybe after the show wrapped, and you know Qui-Gon's sitting there talking with Obi-Wan again, he's like, "The hell did you do with that kid anyway, man? Like, you know, I told you to raise him, and now look at him." Look at him. He's sucking off the Emperor's teat. What are you doing? You got the kid burned alive, and now he's like torturing the galaxy? That is not what I had in mind, dude.
the amount of things that we could joke about this show, by the way, I will give you that. I did have like a bunch of like stuff when it was going on, and I was like, oh man, like this would be like, there could definitely be some funny shit that we could, you know. I mean, even in the Fortress Inquisitorius, like just, you know, the whole stormtrooper killing him in a swimming pool, like a kiddie pool. Like, okay, he just, all right, you know, the stormtroopers were idiots again, and there was different ways to kill them easily. Like I said, I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, you could totally joke around about a bunch of stuff, and yeah, it's kind of dumb in parts, but I think that's a product of them having to flesh this thing out way bigger than it was originally intended to be. So, you know, I mean, I don't know. And by the way, real quick, and then we'll get out of here, but who is that actor that was playing Fleck or Freck or whatever? Wasn't it Zach Braff, the dude from?
The tardigrade looking alien. Yeah, that was Zach Braff.
Okay.
I guarantee I know exactly how that happened. I mean, Donald Faison has been doing Star Wars stuff, and those two are bestest buds from their days back on Scrubs. So I guarantee you that those two had a talk, and Donald Faison's like, I can get you in Star Wars. Let me make a call.
Yeah, dude, and that particular scene was pretty funny because like with the whole, it was awesome with like the laser gate.
Oh yeah,
And when the stormtrooper falls and gets cleaved in half, that was awesome. And I thought this literally the first time, like when we saw, I think we even mentioned this on the show when we first saw Kenobi. Like it was kind of like the gate, the William J. Lepetamain Thruway in Blazing Saddles, where it's like in the middle of the desert, but it's just one gate. And he's like somebody's got to go back and get a shitload of dimes. Like, and
there's one even better though.
Okay.
There's one even better. What the hell is that red gate in the Fortress Inquisitorius for? Like, at least there's rocks on side of the laser fence, so it's actually blocking something a little bit. But they got to walk through this thing. It's like a metal detector or something in the Fortress Inquisitorius. I'm like, but there's just like acres of room on each side of this thing. You just walk around it. What is it looking for? What is it scanning for?
Again, it's one of those things you have to assume. Maybe it's like a metal detector. Maybe it's like detecting kyber or something. And if anybody but the Inquisitors have kyber, I guess it's like a no-no. Maybe that's the case.
Hey, you haven't bled that crystal.
Yeah. I don't know. It is kind of weird to stick it in the middle of the floor. Like, look at this little pee-pee thing in this giant room. It would be.
Yeah, like if it was in a door frame, I'd be like, okay, that's going to bar access to something. But instead, it's just like 20 feet away from the wall. Walk through this thing that you can totally walk around instead.
Wouldn't it be awesome? Like when what's her name? Like I forget her name, but the spy, when she's like bitching out the security guy, like Tala. When she's bitching out the security guy, you see some guy come up behind her, kind of like look over, like in the distance behind her, look over his shoulder, like he's supposed to go through the thing, and kind of like look over his shoulder, kind of like look around, like as there, and he just goes and like runs around the thing. You see him in the background running around it. He's totally takes advantage of it. Like, fuck you, I'm not going through that thing. Little things like that. Like, as much as I love it, like that kind of thing would be hilarious to see. Like, just like these goofy little things. But yeah, dude, I am really surprised that you did not enjoy it. Well, at least you might have enjoyed it, but you sure nitpicked the crap out of it, which I would have never expected. This is going to be something that you and I are going to be yelling at each other about for a long time. I can tell. It's going to be one of those things.
I feel like if I could interview the writers, they could probably rationalize all the stuff. It's just, I'm sure the story does make sense. It just didn't come through the screen for me.
Okay. I mean, it totally did for me. I went into this going like, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi book, Gizmo, Gizmo says that's a fantastic book. He loves the Obi-Wan Kenobi book. You said John Jackson Miller's the...
Yep.
Did I get the name right? Yeah. So, and now it's Legends. And I just never cared. I was like, okay, what the hell possibly could we need to know about Obi-Wan? And then they announced this. I was like, all right, well, I'll watch it because it's Obi-Wan. But again, I was thinking, what the hell do I need this for? And I came out of it being like, okay, my life is now more complete having seen that. Like, as a Star Wars fan, I was like, this is awesome. And again, beating a dead horse, but what the hell, or beating a dead Eopie. We'll make it more Star Warsy. Dude, binging it was a whole different experience for me, and that's what really tipped me over the edge. Like when I watched it in one big chunk, I think I got the emotion and the feel of it a lot more watching it in one big pile. Because there wasn't breaks between it for me to, a week break to kind of like get over what I had seen. No, it's just like one after another, these things hit. And, it was fantastic, dude. And it was very old school in the feel for me. It looked old school, which was awesome. And I had a blast with it. And like I say, I think this is my favorite of the shows. It's concise. It's to the point. And that ending, dude. I mean, just that ending is just so good. The Vader Obi-Wan fight, and then you've got, when Obi-Wan flies back to Alderaan, and him talking to Leia and explaining her character traits with the Leia music playing, and then you see Qui-Gon and all this kind of stuff. Like, Obi-Wan meets Luke, and you get the hello there. Like, the ending is, I mean, even just that is completely worth it. So I love it, dude. I love it. And I'm a huge fan, and you and I are going to be battling about this for a long time to come, I'm quite sure, until you come around to my way of thinking, because as you said earlier in the show, I'm always right, and that's true. So.
Yeah.
So
Well
before we-
said. Well said.
Yeah.
I agree with that entirely.
So
Well
before we-
said. Well said. I agree with that entirely.
Thank you. See, this is how social media works. If you yell at somebody enough with your opinion, they'll eventually just agree with you. That's the purpose of social media.
Mhm.
So, real quick before we get out, yes. Real quick before we get out of here, we do have want to reiterate two very quick show announcements. Obviously, we started off the show mentioning that we are going to become a member of the Virtual Cantina Network. Our first episode with them will be on Thursday, August 30th. So we will be doing the exact same show.
Wednesday.
We'll just have
Wednesday, August 30th.
Sorry. Wednesday. Yeah.
125.
125. So look, Kale says, I'm maybe gonna have to go back and watch Kenobi today. And Mimar says, sheesh, John, well, now I'm gonna have to go binge rewatch it. Mimar, do it, and next time you're in here and commenting, tell me what you think when you watch it as a big chunk. It's so much better doing it that way. But so we are going to be a member of the Virtual Cantina Network. Our first episode as a member of that network will be on Wednesday. Thank you, AJ. August 30th. Show is going to be completely the same. It's just going to be an added platform for us and more eyes on the show. So nothing's changing content-wise or anything. I'll still be, spewing correct opinions while AJ's just a dumbass over there. And second show note before we get out of here, just want to remind you guys real quick, fuck Purgles, they suck. All right, so with that having been said, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. Guys, again, can't thank you guys enough for being in the chat. Kale, Gizmo, Mimar, even my butthead buddy Jimmy. Great to see all you guys. Joseph Wren, awesome talking to you, man. Thank you, everyone. If you are watching on YouTube on a replay, thanks for tuning into a replay. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. AJ has made some incredible designs at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. You can get any one of, I believe, AJ, 4 logos.
4 or 5. 4
or 5.
I don't know.
But in any
You're
case,
just gonna have to go there and find out.
Yeah. T-shirts, coffee mugs, hoodies, mouse, anything you can think of, you can get any one of those logos on there in any color scheme that you want. So go check that out at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. Go sign up for a new account at Audible using the link audibletrial.com/NHC. Because when you do that, you get a free audiobook download. And when you do that, you can download the Kenobi book that we just talked about. And Gizmo says it's awesome. AJ enjoyed it, so check that out. You can get it for free. Guys, it's amazing. We have one more episode before we are official members of the Virtual Cantina Network. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And we will be right back here on Wednesday, August 16th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, I am your host, JT, at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
And we will catch you guys. AJ's wrong. Kenobi is awesome. Kenobi is really, really badass. And AJ, end the show. My damn computer froze again. We'll catch you next time.
Oh, look at that. We're out of time. I guess we're just going to have to go now. All right.